Evening? No, 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 no. It is 2:30 p.m. Oh, right, my little beardy boy, a little brushette. Gonna enjoy my cup of tea, and then we will start properly. I probably need to tweet out. I am live talking about Star Citizen 3.10 and bits for the channel. Well, HTTPS on // That's gone up. Bam. That up. Close all that. Hello everyone, bear with me. Happy time zone, yes, time zone dropped. Do some pre-stream answering of questions. Eric, yeah, you're going to see in 3.10 a lot of updates to multi-crew gameplay and the ability to coordinate. Actually, that's probably quite a good idea for a focus for a lot of gameplay and stuff for my channel, to be honest. So Zin's working for me from in a couple of weeks' time properly. And that means I need work for her to do, which will involve playing games with me for footage, I suppose. Ah. Right, should we... Bam. Should we do that? Yeah. Oh, shit, son. We've got Procedural Planets V2 demo in the background. Well, we'll keep that. That's some little teasers of Lear 3 when they put it in the game, and the sandworm and the other sort of other terrain and stuff that you might see in the future. Probably quite significantly evolved from that now, looking a lot better. I hope everyone is doing well and haven't gone too mad in lockdown. I've actually recovered pretty well. I was really, really red from sunburn and a bit of heat stroke from Saturday. I went around a mate's house, sat in the garden and just chatted, and then went home. And masks on and glasses. I brought my own. I brought my own cup, my own everything. It's just like a little pop-out kit, like I was almost camping. Just to be extra safe, because he's recovering from cancer from his leg, and so he's quite high risk. So it's sort of like taking extra safe methods. But it was nice to get out of the house and see a couple of people. Hope everyone is doing well there, as I said. So a lot of people keep on asking. My dad's doing pretty well. He's on some. My dad's was recovering from lung cancer. Lung cancer has unfortunately more recently spread to his brain, which is just a bit shitty. And we thought we had lost him a few weeks ago. It was really bad. Like it was awful. But he's on some targeted treatment, and he was on steroids, but they've gone off them. And it's some of this targeted new treatment stuff for his type, and it's made amazing progress. It's his birthday today, and the doctor phoned up about the potential for radiotherapy. So my dad is not particularly one to want to have any form of treatment in a hospital or anything that might impair his quality of life. It's just sort of like he didn't want to have the operation to remove his lung cancer even. So they're going to get going within the next couple of days to go see the doctor about that. And I've just basically said to him, look, ask the questions that are like the gateways to you having that treatment. If you don't want this to happen, then say, will this happen? If it's going to happen, then factor that in to your decision, and we'll back you whatever. I want him to be treated. Obviously I do, but I don't want to force him into doing anything he doesn't want to do because of his family sort of forcing him into it. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard thing. I'd want to fight tooth and claw for an extra day, to be honest. But I'm not that old yet. Yeah, it's cancer shit. We all have to deal with shit as well. I'm not asking for sympathy or anything. I'm telling you what's going on. People kept on asking. And I like talking about it sometimes because it's nice to get it off your chest. But it's also nice to know you're not alone with a lot of stuff. I know a load of people go through hugely worse. And I'm so lucky that I'm in the UK where we've got the NHS and they'll sort us out with treatments and stuff without bankrupting all of us. Because, I mean, let's face it, if I was somewhere else, I think my whole family would probably be bankrupt. How did I get heat stroke? So I sat, that's the one. I sat out in the sun for about 4 hours on Saturday. And it was, I know I'm in the UK, and it was probably one of the coldest days in July, but it was direct sunlight. And just like, you know, in chemicals, you're not supposed to put BoredGamer directly in the sun for too long. More than a few minutes, actually. I'm pretty. That's actually what. Bam. Let's go with that. Sorry about your dad. It's okay as long as you didn't specifically do it, Fargin. You don't have to worry too much. It's okay. I mean, we all have to deal with this sort of stuff. I mean, it's genuine life. And one of the fortunate points of being bipolar is I'm pretty good at dealing with actual real crisis and tragedy, which is I genuinely believe a major part of life. Like it's trying to be happy is probably quite a hard goal because that's going to change based on your emotional state, especially if you're bipolar. But trying to not be unhappy is sort of like how I try to live and try and leave the world a better place than I started it in. Hopefully, I mean that's all relative as well, isn't it? But you know, try not to be a dick. Robert Johnston, thank you so much. Buy your dad a beer for his birthday. Say Robert says happy birthday to you and feck off board. I'll tell my dad to feck off from you, Robert. He'll be quite happy because it will be money. He'll be like, does he want to swear at me more? Damn. Thank you very much appreciated. I'm gonna. So it's been like Father's Day and a load of other things recently. So he's been sort of inundated with presents, and the typical presents that I buy him, which is Mandarin Napoleon alcohol and Cornish faring biscuits and some other stuff like that. He's got a giant stock of. Me and my other brother Rob bought him loads and loads of these Cornish fairings because we didn't coordinate, so we bought him loads each. But I'm getting him like sort of like takeaways from restaurants because loads of restaurants now have had to run takeaway services to sort of like keep their businesses. So no, this isn't footage of Squadron 42. This is footage of the original planetary tech. So this is in the Lear system, Lear 3, and one day that will be this planet, looking significantly more improved, I would expect, will be in the Star Citizen universe. But yeah, loads of restaurants have had to open up as sort of like more than just restaurants. They're giving takeaways and stuff because people aren't just travelling to eat there. So I'm taking advantage of that and eating delicious food from there. But I hope, yeah, as I said, I hope everyone's doing okay. I thought it was a little public service announcement about my dad. I might clip it and then put it as a command in chat. It looks like we've got a... Okay, so we're still waiting on 3.10 to go to first wave PTU, and I would say the wait is now aggravating me at least a little bit, because I've been ready for it for about 3 weeks, over 3 weeks actually, and now I'm almost not ready for it because I've been waiting for so long. Like, I have not made plans for other content beyond 3.10. I'm very low on my list of stuff because typically I do load of content ideas and build them all up as sort of like bullet points and plans and that sort of stuff. And I'll just go, what do I fancy doing today? I'll do this. Or is there a hot topic? Oh, I'll use some of this. Bam, bam, bam. And do a video like that. But pretty much everything now is 3.10 in my list. And I'm like, I need the first wave PTE to go out. Have you heard about a rework refresh of the 600i? Yes, that's still the plan. They are going to be revisiting the 600i to some extent. I'm not sure how much of a rework it's getting. I wouldn't expect a huge one. I'd expect some of its interior space to be tweaked a little. When Squadron 42 Episode 1 releases, and hopefully it looks as good as the trailers make it look, I hope it looks better, do you think it will be a head-turner of a game and naysayers and game journalists will eat their words? No. No. Like, okay, so for example, they will create some articles sort of confirming what they had originally said, or it's not as good as people thought, or whatever. Whatever. Like, that just happens. You have people creating stories for their audiences, not creating news. So what I try and do as much as possible, not entirely, because I do cover lots of other stuff and what I reckon about Star Citizen and stuff, but all the content I do on Star Citizen, for example, is from the words of CIG. So it's from their news, it's distilled and summarised stuff, without so much of my opinion in it, where possible. So a lot of... I was literally watching these Salty Mike's Answer the Call, where they name-dropped me, obviously, because Star Citizen and BoredGamer, synonymous, and I can't remember what I was saying now. I was just giving myself a big head. That's maybe how I got sunburnt, because I got a too big a face. No, but so I try and cover Star Citizen in quite a newsy form. So I take their words and then regurgitate it, summarise it, compress it, put it into context from what other stuff they've said. I don't go, well, sometimes, hopefully I say when I do, I don't go, I reckon, or I don't say I reckon as fact. I go, I will say I reckon, or I would expect, or things like that when I don't know for sure, or that's what it looks like to me. Because people ask me loads of questions, so I sort of answer them where appropriately, where I can. It's a hard thing to balance what I've created on YouTube, I've realised. I don't want to be overly, this is fact, when I don't know. But at the same time, I get asked the questions like, what do you think? And I'll answer that. That was one of the things these streams are for. My mother makes Cornish pasties, but they'd be soggy by the time they arrive. They'd be soggy. What? Where are you in the world, Robert Johnston? You said you're in New Zealand? The New Zealand dollars? aren't they? Does she make them in the Cornishlands? In the Cornwalls? Off to bed now. Keep the noises down, please. No worries, mate. Thank you very much for joining me today, Robert. You're only here very briefly. I mean, I started at a weird time. Thank you very much. I know it must be weird. Like, most of my viewers are American. And then it's American, then UK, then Europe, sort of like a breakdown of German and French. And then I've got loads of Australians and Canadians. So it's a eclectic around the world mix. Can you speak on 3.10 blockers? Not really, other than there are blockers which I originally thought might have been, because previous to when we've had similar blockers in EVOCATI, they're blockers that they've been able to just sort of like poke and get and solve. So it's a mixture of bugs and refinement to features in games this time, because they're like, well, this isn't working exactly as we wanted or intended, and once that's done to be state that they're willing to get more feedback on other areas, then it will be released to first wave PTU. And as I've been saying for the last 2.5 weeks, it could be any time that it goes to first wave PTU, but that could be today, that could be next week. I heard from a couple of sources that they were originally planning, this was at the end of last week, planning to release to live at the end of this week, or at least that was a rough goal rather than planning. It was a rough goal they wanted to. And that was live, but we still don't have first wave PTU. The first wave PTU to wider PTU to live could be a really quick process this time around, because they are keeping it in EVOCATI a lot longer, and they are solving a lot of the problems that I would say would be solved in the first wave PTUs typically, as well as major blockers as well. Are you allowed to stream or make videos for the PTU board, or do you have to wait for live? I can make it first, as soon as it goes to first wave PTU, I can make videos and I can stream it and I can use the footage and I'll gather a load of footage for it, and that will be seen on my channel for many months to come, I suspect, as well. So as soon as it goes to first wave PTU, that's when the channel can sort of start focusing on it for content. And I'll get really quickly a patch notes highlight and features summary video, and that's what I'm thinking of probably doing for my patch notes videos, unless people... Okay, so with live builds, so when it goes to 3.10 live, do people want a full patch notes breakdown, bug fixes and all, or do you want just the major stuff covered and then a link to the full patch notes? It's interested to know what people want. So one of the things I want to do on this stream, I'm going to go through a load of the questions in a minute, but keep this in mind, and feel free to suggest stuff now. One of the things I want to do on this stream is work out, where possible, or get help with, merch for my channel. So some ideas for t-shirts, basically, because I want to integrate that with my YouTube, and have a store that's updated with merch regularly. And I want to do that Europe, UK and USA for the most part, and I suspect they will also have a more global sort of shipping. Emotes, I want to have some updated emotes on my Twitch and YouTube, and then general content for the channel. So for example, ideas for content and series and that sort of stuff. So huge amount of 3.10 content coming up. I'm gonna, my weekly roundup that I do on Saturdays, which goes over the newsletter and really briefly what happened throughout the week in sort of like a quick summary fashion, bam, bam, bam. I'll probably call Star Citizen TLDR now. So that will probably be the weekly news show. That sort of makes sense. And I might put all summaries in that category as well. I'll have to work it out. But some of the content I want to do is what's to look forward to in a particular month or week. So when we have like this week in Star Citizen, this month in Star Citizen, bam, this is what's coming up. This is what the sort of plans are for stuff. cool. There's not going to be a huge amount of videos on that. They're very short, typically. But then, from 3.10 onwards, obviously we'll have patch notes and looking at each of the features. Now, looking at each of the features is probably quite important, as you can imagine. But to what extent? Now, I probably want to go over each of the gameplay mechanics full loops. So we look at all of the different missions individually. We look at multi-crew, sort of like missions in a full crew, do a little adventure in each of these missions. Look at mining ship, do a full mining gameplay loop. Have some goals with the cargo ship and a cargo hauler and escorting and stuff like that. And then actually potentially try and intercept other people's trade ships and stuff like that as pirates. Now, I'd like that stuff to be as real as possible as well, rather than staged. I mean, I'm fine with some staged content as well, but maybe if I turn up and I'm sort of like assaulting someone's caterpillar, I'll stop and say, sort of like, we'll let you go this time, because this was just an example. Actually, they might just wreck us with the new turrets and stuff. But yeah, so there's a huge amount of content I can do, breaking down each of the gameplay loops, breaking down each of the those features. If the flight model and sort of like combat model is in a good enough state, I will probably start doing my Ship Buyer's Guide series again. I have some issues, okay, and this is not to sully any content creators. You do whatever you fucking want, and I'm genuinely good with that. If I wasn't good with that, I would message you. But I'm worried about other people getting annoyed by what I do. Now, there are names of series that I have, like Star Citizen Ship Buyer's Guide. Okay, now that has become a staple of people's guides and tours when they're doing stuff for ships now. So I don't want people to think I've stolen it from anyone else. I genuinely started that series. But it's just a name, and anyone can use it. That's fine. I actually I actually started my Ship Buyer's Guide as Should You Buy series, which I hadn't realised until someone went, "This is done by who was it? Was it FTL Youngblood? I think it was Youngblood's videos, which is Should You Buy series." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I just changed it. Subliminal and all the others that use similar titles. I don't think they use the exact title. That's all good. It's become a staple of the community. But I don't want people to get annoyed that I'm using that title and saying I've stolen it. That's not. I hope they won't. But people won't do that with it. It's just a name, isn't it? It's just a name. It's all good, I think. Yeah. So, but what I'm thinking of doing is looking a bit further into a lot of this stuff. So with the ships, we'll look at the full gameplay loops for those ships as well. So we'll do a Ship Buyer's Guide, and then as a sort of like sister video and a more long form video, we'll do a full gameplay loops that you can do in the ship at the moment. I mean, not full gameplay loops because that would be quite expansive, but highlight a lot of the gameplay you can do in that ship. Well, so up until recently, when it comes to more technical videos for like guides, meta, ship tours and stuff, I'm good at talking, and I'm good at sort of like expressing what I think and a lot of the information associated with a ship, but my editing is poor, which is why having a full-time editor starting from August and hopefully being significantly more skilled than I am at that, and we should be able to get a lot better looking videos and actually be able to do those Ship Buyer's Guides justice. I'd like for Subliminals, like Someone, Morphologist, Subliminal, for a few of the others, their style of videos is really, really good, and I want Zin to look at that and go, right, don't copy that, but we're adding value in the same way that they are to their videos. Look at their shots that they get. Look at their high-end beauty shots. Look at the sort of additions they make with their own sort of like UI aspects that they've sort of superimposed. But yeah, so we'll also have a lot of gameplay. I'll do some proper sort of like adventure mini-series where we like do a Carrack adventure and experience all a load of gameplay in the Carrack with a crew. Which will be pretty real. I haven't got any plans to have anything staged in that yet, but there probably will be at some point some stage stuff. I think you'll find that my sort of wit and humour is much better when done live, or you know, not scripted. I've quite a beast of a machine, yet I'm still often stuck at 10 FPS. You know, if there'll be something to improve that, or should I decrease my resolution for Star Citizen? So Star Citizen's terribly unoptimized at the moment. I would expect some better frame rates in 3.10, because there were some bugs in 3.8 and 3.9, some terrible optimization of certain areas that made frame rates a lot lower in certain areas. So I would expect better frame rates for you. When they have Vulkan integration and the renderer, Gen 12 renderer stuff that they've got planned, which should be in later this year, that should significantly improve client-side scalability and frame rates. What else? What else did I want to talk about content-wise to keep it in people's brains? Oh, I want to test Shadow with 3.10, which I technically would be against my NDA with the EVOCATI to test Shadow with 3.10 at the moment, technically, because of the way it's worded, in my opinion. I do have a legal background from university, so I'm sort of like, I don't do anything to break my NDA where possible. What else have we got? So location tours. Oh, we could live out of some locations and see what there's to do from that location as gameplay loops. That's probably quite a good idea. We can look at meta. If people want meta series, and actually look at what you should be aiming for if you're min-maxing, and what's best in class for each of those gameplay loops. If there's anything new ship or vehicle-wise in 3.10, we'll cover that in some detail, obviously. The prison gameplay, updated prison gameplay in 3.10, we'll look at that and see how quickly we can escape, and if we can actually get away and hack down our rating again and things like that, and see what bugs we encounter on the way. So, lots and lots of content. Now, do you people, if you've got other content ideas, I desperately want to hear them. Oh, Organisation Spotlight. That will be returning. It's been hard to manage because I had a few orgs in mind, and some of those orgs have erratic schedules, and I have erratic schedules at the moment because obviously I'm sort of looking after my parents, so I don't have the same sort of time in like big periods. That's why when I stream for like an hour or 2 hours when I can. I'm really looking forward to seeing it helping me with work. Like, oh my god. 3.10 coming out is 3.10 coming out is more important at the moment, to be honest. But is it working for me? Oh. Have you considered exploring stealth components? Yeah, I mean, we can look at that. We can probably set up some of our own silly gameplay loops for that. So, for example, we can have cat and mouse or hide and seek. Yeah, do some hide and seek stuff. People have to get from one area to another while trying to be hidden. Yeah. And then other people are scanning them down and looking for them, because that works okay-ish in 3.9. Obviously, it's not anywhere near final. 3.10 might be a bit better. We can actually certainly have a look at it. But yeah, let me write some of this stuff down. Hide and seek, exploring stealth gameplay. See, a lot of the stuff like by Rexilla and NEO, sort of all the stuff they've done, Detox, so a lot of large org style stuff. I need to probably start leveraging the fact that I've got an organisation and a community, but never really got them to do anything together in game. So we'll start doing stuff like that. We need to start doing that soon. I'm gonna get Zin to organise it, you see, so I don't have to deal with anything. I can just be the brains and generate that YouTube money. What? Cobra says if something doesn't work, blame BoredGamer. Oh, oh no. I like being name dropped, I think, or maybe I don't. I'm not sure. Thank you very much for. So I know a lot of you, I can see the symbols, a lot of you here are like Thomas Smith and Kim Westerby, and that's only the people I saw at the very, very beginning of the stream. I'll look through in a second. Have become YouTube members, so you can, like Twitch subscribers, you can become YouTube join members, channel members, which is you pay a monthly subscription for, and you're supposed to get a load of exclusive content and stuff. You will get exclusive content for this month, probably a couple of bits. As soon as 3.10 goes to first wave PTU, I can actually make some content that I want to make. And I'll introduce you to Zin and stuff like that in a bit more detail. Also, for people that want pictures of Zin, you creepy fucks, they're maybe a bit too extreme. She does have a Twitch channel, and she has face cammed on there before. So go there and donate kindly. Maybe, I don't know. I like the Cutlass Black. I like the new Cutlass Black. Let's have a look up here. Which Avenger is your favourite? Avenger Titan. It's cheap and effective. Does what it's supposed to do, which is tide you over until you get a better ship. And it's a pretty good ship that will keep you good until you get like a Cutlass Black or a Prospector, or get a focus ship for combat or whatever you want to do. So yeah, the Avenger Titan, just standard Titan, pretty slick. Kevin, feel free to message me what video that was from Cobra. I'll have a look, and I'll drop a message in the comments. I haven't Cobra TV's not on my list of people I watch regular content from, which I will. He's doing lots of Star Citizen content now. I will have to I'll update it all, because typically I watch a load of stuff ranging from FTR to Salty Mike to Subliminal to Morphologists. I sort of watch a huge range of other people's content so that I'm in the loop with what people think. Some of them they're a bit ranty, some of them are a bit white knighty, and some of them are in between. It's you know, got to get your sources of information from lots of different places. And when it comes to especially opinion-based stuff and what they think. I wanted to ask, I know it's all speculation, but what's your project launch day for Star Citizen? So, projected launch day. So, end of 2024 for a game is now live, and maybe. I don't know. I mean, that could just be sort of a roughly feature complete. Like there's a huge amount more to do after they get to that sort of stage. So I think end of 2024, the game will be a lot more mainstream, and has the potential of going, there's going to be no more resets. I mean, they might go, well, we're not going to reset until end of beta, and then we're going to have another big reset. But it's going to be many years after that, in my opinion, before they're like mostly content complete, or getting towards it depends on what they want to do. Minimum viable product. I've done a video on this, and I was just like a lot of in two minds about a lot of this stuff, and very juxtaposed. Minimum viable product for Star Citizen is very different from content complete for Star Citizen. How do I get such a fantastic hairstyle? Lots of stress. Just try and stress yourself out every day. Try and get your heart rate while you're sort of playing computer games to at least sort of like 130 minimum. Any news on server meshing? They're working on server meshing. Lots of features and updates going into 3.11 and stuff that support server meshing, but nothing beyond that. We're expecting server meshing early to mid 2021 at the moment, sort of like the first iterations of it. But What, in your opinion, will come out for server meshing? More server meshing optimizations, and then lots of different sort of tests of server meshing is going to require loads of iterations. They can open a lot more star systems up, a lot more gameplay area, have much more sort of like more fleet engagements, I suppose, and more sort of like large scale raids, the Xenothreat stuff. Or more of the Xenothreat type stuff. Will the bartender be in 3.10? That is the plan. It is a listed feature. And should be. Any words on Titan suits? Nope. It's sort of gone a bit dark on Titan suits. I'm looking forward to them, but I don't know when they're going to turn up. I'm hoping Sean Tracy pushes for them for Theatres of War after getting the Nova Tonkin. How long until they get cloud tech into Star Citizen? It depends what you mean by cloud tech, because there's gas giant tech, there's tech they use for the nebula already, there's stuff for the coil, which they've got done, there's clouds for weather. I mean, what do you mean? It's possible they could have Crusader and Orison done for the end of the year, or Q1 of 2021. Star Citizen leaks were talking roughly about, it looks to them like Pyro may be finished by the end of this year, or at least implemented into the game in some form by Q4 2020. But Orison and Crusader requires more work, so is more likely to be pushed into Q1 2021. But we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. We won't know until we see that roadmap. I love you, Shite. I'm glad I made you mods. I thought maybe you'd be a monster, but you haven't abused your powers at all. It's not a sword in this, is it? It's a spanner on YouTube's, I suppose. Will they do some rework on the Connie series? Kim, they've said specifically there's no secret Connie rework. The Taurus wasn't put in the game yet because they just were working on other things, other locations and ships. But expect it to get the Connie series to get light updates when it comes to, well, literally lighting, materials, and tweaks like that all ships will get, but nothing major is planned. When will we get sandworms? Sandworms, when we get Layer 3, I would expect, which is quite a way away, probably. But sandworms are planned. Can Star Citizen be considered complete without a pasty seller in game? I mean, it helps if I read the words in a question. No, it can't, obviously. But we're probably quite close to having why can't I say this? Pasties in game. You monster. If they miss the goal, what do you think about the idea of pressuring them to lift NDA for EVOs? They won't lift NDAs. So even when they go to first wave PTUs, yeah, the NDA isn't lifted. It's just not an EVOCATI build, so you can talk about it. You can't talk about the previous EVOCATI build, the specifics of that patch. So when 3.10 goes to first wave PTU, there will be no lack of content on the channel. That's the thing. I don't want to... Okay, so with the live build, I probably will do a full patch notes. I'll tweak it a bit. I won't just have it as a monotone bullshittery. But I'll do a full patch notes reading, because I actually like going for, like, when Diablo 3 gets updated, and when I used to play Overwatch, I would watch videos specifically for the full patch notes. So... Any wipe info? So no wipe info for 3.10 yet. We don't know if it's going to be wiped or not. We just don't know. There's rumours that it will be. There's rumours that it won't be. It's unknown as of yet. Will they introduce a hand scanner for finding minables in the future? Again, we don't know for sure. They've got the tech to be able to do that, yes. They've got the tech to be able to do lots of different types of scanning from a player on the ground running around like this point of view. So from an FPS scanning sort of thing, they could do it. I would expect to see different types of armor or items or gadgets that will allow you to scan for different things, whether they be people or sounds or animals or minables in the future. I would expect that, but that is not confirmed. They sort of like will iterate on things like that and work out what they want to do. Because with hand mining, they sort of want a bit more of that exploration into caves and looking around for it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't require you to have to scan down the minerals. But I would like it if you could scan for them, yes. I would love videos that break down each of the gameplay loops and professions. Cool. That's cool. So I think we have to do that for 3.10 to keep me and Zin busy. Yeah, okay. Or to make the most use of her. So we'll definitely make use of the Discord and people that want to play and help record B-roll and join in some of these series and stuff in the future. I promise that will be a thing. It just needs a bit of organisation. And, yeah. What additional ships will be available in 3.10 to buy in-game with Alpha VC? I can't give you the list, unfortunately. But expect the next few patches to cover most ships that are flyable in-game to be available in-game in shops. Yeah? I believe CIG listened to people wanting those flyable ships in-game, and they've gone, okay, we'll put them into to rent or to buy. I can't speak for every ship, and I can't speak for what they'll do when future new straight to flyable and newly released ships come out. In a while, have the Auroras been updated so their VTOL flaps open up like the Constellation? Even if I could talk about that, I don't know. The Auroras will be balanced for atmospheric flight and get the pass because they wanted their little hover fans to work properly. I haven't actually checked them out. I will. Once this 3.10 goes to first wave P2, potentially even before that, but I won't make a video of it until it goes to first wave. Do you know when they're going to add assets on planets, i.e. random encounters, NPCs, etc.? Once the AI is in a state that it can be... there's some features that will probably come into Q4 this year, including NPC spawn lockers and the scheduler. So once they have that, and hopefully AI in a place where it can pathfind around facilities, come into atmosphere, spawners, reinforcements, that sort of stuff, then you can have those random encounters. It's not totally random encounters. There'll be procedurally generated missions and that sort of stuff, and events. So partly procedurally generated, based on what's going on in the universe, part of this sort of like dynamic mission system and traveling to missions and that sort of stuff. So you might encounter a group of security forces or traders or pirates or whatever, or animals. Someone asked me about bare knuckle boxing. 1 second, where's this? I've lost the question. I've lost where I was. Bored if they missed the... they've talked about that. So to answer your question right away, it's probably because I'm like 20 minutes behind. Oh, you need Star Citizen installed on a SSD, because Star Citizen is a tricksy little mistress. Let me just change what video we're playing in the background. Boop, boop, boop. What else we got? Squadron 42 vertical slice on. That's why I missed it. Would you be into having a prison bare-knuckle boxing match? Yes! We will do that. That's a great idea for some content. So the prison gameplay, we can do like a prison life series. We just have a boxing match between later content creators. Sam Wiseman. I thought I'd answer your question. Please stop asking which Avenger should I buy. Avenger Titan, literally the cheapest one. It's it does the job of covering you, that Avenger Titan, until you get a better ship, until you work out what your focus wants to be. So then you move on to something like a Cutlass Black or a Prospector or a dedicated fighter or whatever. Oh, Shy, thank you so much. I've made you a mod, now you give me more money. When do you think we will see explosive decompression dynamics in the persistent universe? Thanks, bud. So, I think we'll see it in Squadron 42 update video probably first. That's what I'm hoping. When would it be in the persistent universe? It's quite complex. So probably after Vulcan stuff, because it's going to be hell for the client, yeah? And to what extent will we get it? Well, I don't really know. It's an interesting thing. Do you want me to link Zin's Twitch? Boop. Okay. That's Zin. Actually Zin, or is this someone around? It's actually Zin. Okay. Okay. Let me link. That's that is Zin's Twitch. Do we need to set her up with her own YouTube channel? And she can probably use the second channel, the BoredGamer 2.0 channel, for any Zin videos for now. And we'll look at potential, if she becomes really popular, or more popular than me, then we'll work something out. Oh god, that's a fear, isn't it? What if people like her a lot more than me immediately, without any like transition period? It's just like, oh, she's much better than Bored. Oh. Star Citizen, the scam that keeps on scamming. I mean, it's the worst scam ever. I mean, they're building a rocket ship to actually go to the moon, and to scam you into thinking they went to the moon. That's the sort of what they're doing. It's 600 people building a computer game which is playable. But you could certainly argue they're bad at it. They can't argue that it's a scam. I don't think you're on solid ground there. When do you think we'll see explosive decompression dynamics in the persistent universe? I've already answered this. Why is it appearing on my thing again? I love you, Shite. Mwah. I'm not sure why it showed me your question twice, but it did. Have you been following what has come out from Cloud Imperium about the support for Vulcan, and what is the latest? So they've been building the Gen 12 renderer various back-end optimizations and getting Vulkan support as part of that. So their Gen 12 renderer includes Vulkan support. The first stage of that should be later this year, and that will have both DirectX 11 and Vulkan support, and then later it will move over fully to Vulkan. Now, some of the other stuff they're doing for the Gen 12 renderer in general is they're making it as hardware neutral as possible, making it scalable as possible. I think the last thing they said was they had it scalable up to 30 CPU threads, which is enough, I would say. And it's going to be like really hardware neutral. Could it work on Linux? Yeah, it could work on Linux. Can't confirm that Star Citizen will work on Linux when they've got Vulkan support. It'd be amazing if it does. It'd be cool. Yeah, and it should look a lot better, be a lot more optimized for that. I think we'd probably see that Q4 of this year. That'd be my expectation for first stage Vulkan, first stage Gen 12 renderer stuff. Did they remove the radar dishes opening on the Herald? Used to work, but not anymore. I have not checked for a while. Any news fixing the cargo bay on the Phoenix? So expect a load of bugs to be addressed in 3.10. I can't talk to the specifics of that because they haven't said anything publicly. The meta will change massively in 3.10. Huge meta change. Combat's different, flight model's different, weapons different. Bored, very unhealthy. You have a healthy diet of gaming. Eat some food. You look malnourished. I mean, I'm not malnourished. I need to lose another stone, probably, mate, at least half a stone. I've been going for lots of runs and stuff. I've lost a lot of weight in the last 3 months. But I'm not at my ideal weight yet. And I love food. Like, I love food. All forms of food. Like, I could easily be vegetarian or vegan if if other food groups didn't exist. Unfortunately, they do, and I will consume them all. There's very few things I won't eat. Them being cucumber, which is the devil's vegetable. If it's in the same room as me, been cut. Not so like a cat. I'm terrified by them. No, if it's cut, the smell of cucumber makes me sick to my stomach. Like, it is disgusting. It repels me from miles. People say it doesn't taste of anything or doesn't smell of anything. You are wrong. It smells of doom. Not a massive fan of like peaches and pineapple. Don't like a huge amount of seafood. I'll eat salmon. 100% can relate to your cucumber woes. I know, right? Oh, cucumbers are horrible. But I love I love a good grain-fed steak. I'm really up for the provenance of meat as well, and vegetables, to be honest. It's not necessarily about paying more, although typically you pay more for better. But just find out where your meat comes from, and if you haven't, and look around and try lots of different types of meat, because you'll go from something that's very cheap and not very well looked after to something that is a bit more expensive, and you'll be like, oh my fucking god, this is amazing. I didn't know this could taste this good. It's like I find it with a Iberico pork. The Iberico pork is acorn-fed pork. It is absolutely delicious, and it is like the Wagyu of pork, in my opinion. So the Dark Souls of meat. It's absolutely delicious. Oh, I haven't had any of this. There's some olive-fed steaks that I want to try, but so typically I used to buy some quite cheap steaks from like Aldi and stuff, and they're still quite nice, and I'll still cook with them. But like now when I buy like a 10-ounce steak or an 8-ounce steak, like 20 to 30 quid for the steak. You just have it rarely, and then I can have a little treat once every few months or whatever with a delicious, amazing steak, and maintain a pretty healthy diet because I'm not eating the expensive food all the time. I'm eating some. So the sort of moment I have chicken and toasted almonds, sort of like as a staple meal, porridge occasionally with almond milk rather than the normal milk. Salmon and spinach and, with an egg on top. Lots of chili. I make sort of soy sauce, honey and a chili sort of sauce to go on that little light thing. Garlic sauces, things like that. So I eat pretty healthily. I've lost all the weight. I had Chinese on the weekend, and I had a McDonald's, part of the McDonald's yesterday, because my dad wanted a McDonald's, and he can have whatever fucking food he wants, and I will buy him it. What previous Chris Roberts games have you played? So Freelancer was probably the favourite Chris Roberts game I can remember enjoying for a long period of time. Like Wing Commander, I was very young when Wing Commander 1 to 3 sort of came out. I do remember playing them a lot because my brothers played them, but I was very young. The same sort of time I was playing Dune 2, and what other games did I play a lot around then? Later it was Command & Conquer and Red Alert and stuff. But Warcraft, original Warcraft. Time ago. My favourite space game ever is probably Free Space 2, though. Like, Free Space 2, I genuinely think is one of the best games ever made. I absolutely love it. I think it's the storylines just really grabbed me, and the mechanics were just great. And Star Citizen captures so much of that. Afternoon board, me again. Hey, you right, Silly G? Hope you're well. Cheese and cucumber sandwiches are amazing. No, you are wrong. You are just demonstrably wrong. Genuinely, the thought of cucumber is actually pretty repulsive to me. Tell you what I've bought, which I haven't eaten yet. I was like, well, I feel more middle class now, so I've bought some like avocados. I've never really had avocado before, beyond having guacamole. So I've bought some avocados. I'm going to attempt to cook with them. I'm a reasonably good cook. I used to be a head chef. I'm pretty lazy as a head chef, though. I always think being lazy makes you better as a person. No, not as a person. Makes you more efficient, because you... Okay. You want to have a good work ethic to know that you have to get stuff done, but be lazy knowing that you want to make it more efficient for yourself overall. That's what I want. I want to go. What about pickles? So, okay. I don't mind the pickling process being used to make some delicious things, but gherkins, they can fuck off as well. There is an interesting lack of info and visuals on the progress of Crusader. So, there's a reason for that, and that's because they don't want to show that stuff until the next season, which starts next Thursday, of Inside Star Citizen. So you'll see that next season and the season afterwards if they're planning it for this year. Do you see what I mean? Because that will be for 3.11 and 3.12/4.0. The planet in the demo earlier, that was Layer 3. The moon that you'll see in this video that I'm currently playing is Odin 1A Gainy. But Odin 1 doesn't exist anymore because it's become the coil. It exploded. Do you think the Carrack is going to be the biggest exploration ship, or do you think they'll make a capital-size explorer? I think that you will be able to outfit larger ships than the Carrack to do similar to exploration to some degree and run them as explorer ships. But I think the Carrack is going to be one of the best, if not the best, focused explorer for expeditions. Because there's, like, in lore, there's, like, Idris and stuff that have been outfitted for exploration. Any guesses on secret addings to 3.10? Okay. So, some of them are in EVOCATI builds, potentially. Stuff that's beyond the EVOCATI build that I could think about, though. Some other new missions and stuff like that. They might put in. I'd love it if they put something else straight to flyable or drivable as well. Could you revisit some of the older ship videos? Some are fairly old, and I don't see you doing any new videos about ships. Yes, 100%. 100% we'll do full ship-wise guides and look at their individual mechanics, how they play in the game in 3.10, and then any major patch changes for them in the future, we'll look at them again. I think that's what we'll do. Let me just make sure that's written down fully. Full gameplay loops of each ship update when they get major additions / updates / changes in a patch. Cool. It's cool. Still love you. Would you be down with some... Yes, definitely with the prison. But so I love the boxing. I didn't actually write down the boxing idea here. Prison life. Gameplay. Mining. Boxing. Merits. Because you can send merits in 3.10. There's also... new missions in 3.10 associated with missions like repairing the oxygen kiosks and things like that is the idea. Missions, proper escape, and hacking down rating. I'm less worried about stream sniping than I think other content creators, because hopefully, as long as it is not sort of like bullying, I'll make it into content. Or at least it'll be interesting. People want to see that shit anyway, don't they? See what he said there is his option of choice? That's a Terminator reference. Oh, you're the fucking best, Shite. He's actually doing modding duties. If you've got any other people that want to be mods on Twitter, YouTube, Discord or whatever, feel free to send me a PM or email contact@boredgamer.co.uk. I'm looking for more. Zin will probably make the final decisions on that sort of stuff in the future. I'll also probably get my mods involved with helping with some content or asking them opinions on stuff. It's not a great job. It's pretty much a chore. Larger capital ships have X number min crew. What are the typical crew roles for these minimum crew positions? Pilots, and then it's going to be a mixture of manning some of the turrets or their core facilities. Yeah. And having engineers and security and that sort of stuff for repairs. I don't know what this is. There's a weird symbol and lots of numbers on my screen. Hey, Bored, love your videos. What is 50,000? What is this? Thank you very much. Whatever it is. Cirrus Nerschel. Thank you very much. Love your videos. Been watching for a while. Do you know if the future plan has changed regarding inventory being real? Example, carrying 100 guns in crates in the cargo hold. You can open the crates and take the guns out and use them. So, so in the shorter term, yeah, expect physicalized inventory to come into the game to some extent. So that will be no more magic bags of holding. You don't have all of the items in the world. You have to actually physically store them in places. So where are they stored to start with when you log into the server? If you've got loads of items, where are they delivered to? Well, yeah, exactly that. They'll be delivered somewhere. So they might be in your hab, they might be in your hangar, they might be in a ship, whatever. But you'll have a storage box where they'll sort of like start, or once you spawn them, that's where they are until you move them. So you'll have to store like armor suits and things like this in ships. Now, they've been building the building blocks UI systems so that they can build out UIs for loads of other mechanics. In the short term, they are building a UI for your inventory for your backpack and sort of like your pockets and everything. So you can have your guns and all that sort of jazz there in more sort of like a grid-styled inventory system. As far as I'm aware, that will also be for cargo, for looting backpacks, for cargo boxes. Now, that will allow you to put items like commodities, but also your pistols, your grenades, your magazines, and all that sort of stuff, food, even in crates in a cargo hold that will then be detected by that cargo grid. And then you'll be able to take them out in the same way. Now, will we have physicalized cargo, which we can actually have like a crate with gun racks in, that we can have guns in that we can take out? Well, we don't 100% know anymore. That was the original plan. They have the tech to do that, but it might be hybrid with the UI system. It might just be the UI system, or they might have two separate types of boxes, which is a more sort of like functional, you can put items in this and take it out. Although they have gun racks for that. So we don't know for sure yet, is the thing. But we know that they've been building these sort of like looting and inventory UI system, which will be used for that. And then I suspect they'll work out what's the most sensible way of doing things. I don't know what the 50,000 W is, but I suspect it's a lot of stuff. So thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Let's actually have a look what this is. What currency is that? It is South Korean monies. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Star. I don't know if I've had any Korean viewers. Appreciated. Thank you. Please consider streaming board games. Well, it's funny you say that. That was the original channel goal, and one of the things that I want to get my new phone for. I will update. I forgot to do it last time. I will up this donation goal. The phone. I'll get Zin a phone as well. I think as well. So with a good camera, and then we'll film board games because we see each other. Pre-lockdown, we saw each other a few times a year to play board games, to drink and eat delicious foods. And we'd like go to Centre Parks or an Airbnb with a load of people. Me, Kit, DC, Zin, Zen, Cameron, a few other people that you might have heard of on the channel, might have seen me play games with. We go away and to those Centre Parks and stuff and play a load of board games and computer games and stuff. Sally G, thank you very much for becoming a BoredGamer member. Very much appreciated. And, oh my god, why have you got... Okay, don't want to insult people's names. Konstantinos Mikadis? Constan. Thank you so much for the donation. Any plans for bigger ground vehicles that can mine more efficiently? Aquila-sized, for example. Okay. I would expect to see a wide range of modules for ships and larger vehicles in the future for mining, for salvage, and for lots of other purposes that aren't covered in all sizes in the game yet. So I would expect to see that, but we don't 100% know Cloud Imperium's plans. Almost certainly over enough period of time they will add a ship and vehicle for each of the gameplay mechanics in loads of different sizes. All modules for ships for that purpose. I'm expecting next year to be the year of modularity, once they have physicalized components, hopefully done by the end of this year or early next year. What else have we got here? Do you know the Amex? And have you watched his videos? He's one of the content creators I used to have. I see some of his stuff. His stuff is for his audience, is how I describe Yamix. He did a lot of it was Elite Dangerous, wasn't it? Originally. So he sort of does his sort of like silly noises and sort of like slapstick humor associated with taking the piss out of stuff. He might like it and enjoy it, but it's sort of like very sort of like sort of slapsticky and stylized for that. It's not informative. Although, actually, saying that, when he was talking about Elite Dangerous Carriers, that was pretty informative. And so I do watch the... So there's a huge range of content creators I watch. But obviously, some that I don't, because otherwise I just spend my whole time just watching YouTube videos rather than creating them. Haven't heard much about the Quanta and Quantum lately. Any thoughts on what's holding it up? They're building it, and all systems at the moment that they're building for the game have it in mind. They need a lot of the back-end infrastructure to come online that they've got planned coming later this year as well, because they obviously the problems they had with 3.8 and 3.9, some of those major issues with accessibility and services collapsing, they need to get solved for that as well. Meet up for post-quarantine drinks. Yes, Anton. It'd be good to talk to you, catch up, and see your beautiful... I hope you still have your beautiful beard and mustache. Oh, that would be it. I'm genuinely looking forward to that already now. Getting out of the house. As soon as you feel that it is safe to do so, I'm up for that, because we can have a small-scale sort of meeting. See if... I wonder if John Lepage is around. He'd have to travel down, wouldn't he? I hope you're doing well, sir. I probably owe you some money as well. Anton is the BritisonCon sort of like me, him, and John Lepage originally concepted BritisonCon, but it was Anton that sort of like carried that torch and did it from year to year to year. So big ups to him for arranging and doing BritisonCon. Obviously, we didn't have BritisonCon this year, which seems to have been a very smart idea, seeing we would have had to have cancelled it anyway. You trimmed your mustache. It's okay. I'm sure it's still perfect. Is engineering still going to be a thing? Yes. So engineering will be managing some of the ship's systems, but it's also going to be running around repairing things, making sure stuff's working optimally. There's going to be like relays as well as damage systems, as well as repairs and that sort of stuff that you all need to do. Did you see the Bengal carrier live stream leak yesterday? I did. That's all the leaked models from a couple of years ago, though, or more than that now, from a few years ago. It wasn't anything really new. Do you think planetary bombardment will be a mechanic? So, sort of. I think it will be able to, if the weapon's got long enough range, whatever you, I'm not sure what you will consider planetary bombardment, but you will be able to shoot your weapon at its maximum range, and it will be able to hit at its maximum range. Yeah? So, that could be, what, 20,000 meters for like a size 10 gun, maybe? I don't actually know. We'll have to wait and see. So, if you're that far away and you fire it at something, it might be pretty inaccurate at that range, but I suspect that will work. I think one of the things with planetary bombardment, though, is that your scanners probably won't work at that distance and things like that. So maybe some form of inaccurate attack. But I suspect with like removing bases and things like that, they're going to want you to go to the ground and do it. Yeah, and maybe they'll want to avoid overpowered or detached mechanics where you can just go. Instead, like less exterminous, more landing party. Character wipe confirmed for 3.10 question mark. So we don't have a character wipe, yeah, but asset wipe is probably what you're trying to drill down into. There's no confirmation yet, as far as I'm aware, of a asset wipe. We just don't know. What future gameplay features do you think the community is most excited about? The game coming together, probably like I am. Boarding. it's going to be a bit of everything. It's going to be from repair to salvage actually working. I mean, salvage in the short term is probably the most hype because we know it's going to be on our hands in the not too distant future is the hope. Exploration's probably the top tier one though. I don't eat much squash. Will you be able to buy cargo with the larger hull series above Atmo, like at Daymar? Yes, so the idea is with docking mechanics and the cargo facilities at space stations, you'll be able to dock with a space station and do all your cargo stuff there, load cargo onto your hull C, you won't have to land for it. Any news on persistence between 3.9 and 3.10? We don't know yet. They are trying to not have a wipe if at all possible. Have you ever heard of Wagyu steak? Yes, I eat delicious Wagyu. But I don't go for the super fat stuff, even though it's delicious. I go for something with a little bit more sort of like a 3 to 4 BMS. I appreciate all the kind words, thank you very much. Are there any features that you'd like in Star Citizen that haven't been announced? Yes, so crafting to a much greater extent. I want at least the ability to craft fuel, which is, I suppose, is in-game, is going to be in-game. But munitions, food, all that sort of stuff, so that you can, when you're out of a UE system, when you're in the Wild West and have built an outpost, that you can then be self-sufficient there as an organisation. Then you can have proper like org wars and things like that, where you have to dislodge people's bases to get them out of the system, is the idea. Because then they can't be self-sufficient once you've destroyed their base. I'd like potentially crafting to go up to all the way up from that to components, to weapons, to potentially even ships. And yeah, I'd like to potentially also see either capturing space stations or building space stations as well. Indeed, I read all chats. I've got lots of different feeds. So, I'm very far behind in all of them. Typically, anyway. I use Streamlabs OBS. I can't talk about specific blockers from the 3.10 EVOCATI patch, unfortunately. But typically it's things like... I can talk about the ones they've sort of suggested and talked about. So typically it's things like performance issues, or feature issues, or dialing in features, or crashes, instability, or because going to a wider PTU would not give them any additional feedback. So they're working on stuff. Once they've got some stuff worked on and finished, then it goes to wider PTU when they need it to. Morning board, 140,000 roleplay when we get Titan suits. Once we get full on, so once we get the modding ability for the Star Citizen persistent universe in the future, we'll do some 40k roleplay. Some silly stuff. You want to run around as a space marine in the Titan armor? I still don't think we'll be tall enough. How tall are Primaris? They're pretty big. Alien Explorer ship anytime soon. Oh, I haven't heard of any Alien Explorer ships. Maybe. I suspect a lot of ships will, but any ship that you can think of for any size, for any mechanic, will probably be covered at some point. It will have at least been thought about by Cloud Imperium. And over the next 10 years, probably will become a reality. Space elevators, ring worlds, Dyson spheres, will any of them be in-game? So, some of that stuff is at least in lore. We know that there's an entirely constructed planet, basically. Artificial planet. A synth world. But I don't know what we'll see in forms of licenses and things like that as well. That definitely be in the lore. What can you tell us about a 60k error getting kicked out of a server when it says server full? I don't know, Ted. I don't know the exact cause of that error. I suspect it does sort of like a concurrency check and goes, oh, this server's got too many players in. Either because a player's connecting or because there was an error or something. I have lost weight, yes. I've been trying to lose weight as well, though, so... We will do a Boxing Day, don't worry. I hope they will give the Constellation Aquila a medical bay instead of that censored shitty thing in the arse. Oh. Yeah, so I would like a mini medical area for exploration ships in general. Do you know what I mean? It allows you to be a bit more... Will it be able to buy cargo with the larger HAR series? But yeah, okay, we talked about that. Wouldn't it be cool if they made the more ancient, less practical ships of lore? I think you'll see them in, at the very least, in crash sites and derelict sites. I'm hoping we see some of them as well. I think Disco Lando is pushing for having some of those older ships in game as well. Have you an idea when we'll be able to play Theatres of War? So when 3.10 comes out, I would expect to see a couple of weeks later a EVOCATI Theatres of War test. And if they have solved some of those issues that they have with 3.10/Theatres of War previously, then it will probably go up to a wider test weekend later within the next couple of months, is what I'd expect. Are you sometimes hanging out in concierge chat anonymously? Why do you ask that, Mean Monkey? I've got an account which is no one knows is attached to me, which I do give feedback and talk about some stuff in. Probably. I don't think people would guess who it is. I specifically don't even write in the same way that I write normally. Any updates on Orgs 2.0 and what it may end up becoming? So really, Orgs 2.0 is sort of CIG have analysed that in the shorter term as multi-crew and group and party features. So that's multiplayer missions, that's playing in a ship together, that's fleets working together, that's getting the friends lists unified, that's getting VoIP and FOIP working properly. So it's all this sort of stuff, being able to form groups, being able to work together. Now, that will eventually also add the ability to organise your org, and like we expect them to have a permission system, and what we know they're building a permission system to allow different roles on ships and stuff like that. But that should also be greater for the org, which allows you then to have shared assets and things like that as well. We don't know when that's all coming. They're building UIs for it as well. It's very important. It's a focus. Are we expecting further delays in Squadron 42's beta, considering the global lockdown and working from home? So yeah, I mean, I'd expect a quarter or two delay for what they had as a beta. It's very possible they could have the beta done by the end of this year. That wouldn't be a player-facing beta. It's nothing we're going to play. It's something that the devs will play. Potentially, they might release something to EVOCATI very briefly, just before like a game goes live. So there's been some talk about a Squadron 42 prelude, which I think originally came from one of the Something Awful forums, the agent, who has been more wrong than he has been right. It's sort of like specifically shitposting for the lols. So I think that's come from that. A prelude or a demo for Squadron 42 isn't that far out of something reasonable. I mean, that's very possible. Maybe it's a good idea if more of the corresponding gameplay is implemented at some time to make videos on ships with crew and what crew members are doing on board. Yes, that's what it would do. It would keep on cutting to the different crewmen, what they're doing. I'm not sure how good it would be as real, though, without being semi-scripted. Like, well, I'll do the real stuff first, and then in the future might do some semi-scripted stuff. I have goals. But I want to be, at the moment, I want stuff to be representative of actual gameplay and stuff, I think. Rather than doing any sort of a machinima. When do you think fully volumetric clouds for planet's atmosphere will be worked in? We talked about that earlier. What are the plans for base building? So, you should be able to rent space in some stations and planets and things. You should be able to have your own habs and hangars. And I would expect that would expand to orgs being able to have their own habs and hangars on planets and some areas as well, space stations and things. When you're building outposts, you'll be able to build outposts using the Pioneer. There might be some other ways as well, but placing the Pioneer outpost down, bam, then that will have different types of outposts and different types of function as well. Beyond that, we're not 100% sure what's going on with how that's going to be an org base. Is it just a base in general that you can use for as many people as you want? Can we expect tasteful, topless men? Topless men, yeah, but nothing beyond that. They'll be wearing boxer shorts. Do you think it will be possible to have a single crew long-range exploration ship? And if it already exists? Long range. So typically exploration ships will be longer range than other ships of their sort of size. You know what I mean? So the 315P will be pretty good for a small ship for exploring. I think for proper expeditions and long range exploration, you're going to want a larger ship. So, BoredGamer pronounces my name better than my Russian wife. Nice. Konstantinos. Akidis. Is it something like that? I hope that's so. Yeah, I hope that's 30% correct, at least. I'm very much looking forward to whatever they've got planned for instead of CitizenCon this year. Obviously, CitizenCon's cancelled this year, but they said some form of in-game celebration. Maybe they don't actually know 100% yet. We've got the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo end of November. The background of rings of artificial debris is beautiful. So, this artificial debris around Gainey, the actual debris of scrap, they told the dev that was placing it there to put some wreckage there. And he put a metric bollock ton more, like magnitudes more than they had originally wanted. And it was like, fuck it. So I'd expect to see less salvage and scrap around Gainey 1A when we actually see it in game. In the real world, companies are launching inflatable stations and modules in the near future. Do you think Star Citizen will have anything like that for low-cost homesteading or temporary stations? I don't think so. I think they'll all be sort of like ship-based or go to a space station or go to a base that you've built on a planet, probably. Do you think we'll see VIP transport gameplay in the next year or two? It depends on how the AI and NPCs have come along, but I think that's quite possible. I'm looking forward to doing a collab gaming with you sometime. Yeah, I'm pretty, when I've got free time, I'm happy to collab with pretty much anyone for gameplay and stuff. It's just a thing of needing time. It'll have to be after 3.10 comes out as well. Scud the Corsair, thank you so much for becoming a sub. Much appreciated. Have you been forced to be a sub? Alamars, thanks very much for gifting a sub to Timber Gimbal. Oh, you star. Oh, you've been forced. Dalamars is gifting. He's gifting subs. You're a monster, Dalamars. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, you legend. Thank you, thank you. I missed last month. Oh, no, appreciated. No one, please feel like they have to donate or sub or anything like that. Asking questions really helps. And when it comes to the videos, commenting, sharing those videos, contacting me with feedback, that genuinely helps. You don't have to chuck money at me for my channel to continue, but I will happily take your money if you wish to give it to me for donations or for improving the channel or for subbing and that sort of stuff. It is appreciated and really helpful. It's just, you know, not essential for the channel to keep going. Can I crash on your couch if I come to visit the UK for CitizenCon? No, because I effectively living with my parents at the moment, living with me, or whatever you want to see it. However, and they wouldn't, the CitizenCon is unlikely to be near me, Star Citizen Leaks. However, I'd happily share a Airbnb with you, if we, or other people as well, or a CitizenCon, or even a BritizenCon. So if you come to visit the UK for, or want to catch a drink at all, then yeah, definitely, mate. I'm up for that. But not sleeping on my couch. I'm not going to invite a random person around my fucking house that I haven't met before into my house. I never know if people want to kill, eat, or fuck me as well. And it could be all of them. Oh, Sin Zero. I feel mean separating your like into two personas now. Thank you so much, sir. So he's gifted a bollock ton of subs to Kitikati, Dr. Intervenus, Doc, what do you call you, Doc? Spooter, Lightzar, and Phantom. Congratulations on, I don't know, getting the extra beautiful content for becoming members of my channel. With Theatres of War, does that mean we'll see more pronounced difference between light, medium, and heavy armor? Yes. You'll start to see, in the very, very near future, lots more differences with those armor types. And as they build them into the player status system, but also actually have a bit more sensible physical damage and damage types. It's a sub-war. Oh, please, feel free. Anytime there's any form of money war, whether there's any sub-war or donation wars that involve me getting that money or donation goal, money, sub, whatever, give me money. Thanks, guys. How close are we being able to fly our Augur logos on ships? They've got the tech to allow for it now. And they're building UIs at the moment as far as I'm aware. So they've got the paint system in-game for 3.9, 3.9.1. 3.10 will see an expansion of more paints and skins available for ships. Eventually you'll be able to have aftermarket customization of your ships, which should, again, eventually allow you to customize your ship with like names and stuff on it. Orc logos, we're not sure if you're going to be able to put your Orc logo on your ship. It is something they want to do if it's sensible and possible. Hello from the Brazilian community of Star Citizen. Thank you very much. Hello, Cybertech. Hey, Bold, small question. Any known reason that the ability to buy hangers on the... That is the ability to buy hangers on their RSI website. They're abandoning hangers in final game, question mark? Okay. The reason you could buy hangers in the first place was to upgrade your hanger, because originally they only really had the hanger module, and if you wanted a better hanger to start with, or like a hanger that you had in-game as your starting hanger, you could get that, potentially. I wouldn't buy them. I don't think they know exactly what they want to do with them. I would expect that they will eventually go, oh god, what we'll do is we'll give people, rather than these hangers, we'll give them a large amount of starting at VBC or something. They'll go, oh, we're going to remove these and give you something else. That would be my expectation there. I'll poke CIG for a comment on it. But I suspect they'll be like, we don't know. That was more of a legacy thing. Are there any new armor sets anywhere on the horizon? Yeah. Yes, there are. Please do not goad each other into subbing and giving subs away. It's very much appreciated, both you monsters. Oddly, one of the things is I'm not a fan of elitism. I don't mean people playing Elite Dangerous. I mean, I don't like people getting stuff that other people don't have access to. Like, that's why I want information and news and leaks and stuff to be as free as possible. But it's sort of weird with the subscriber thing, isn't it? Because I do want to create exclusive content for them to encourage people to do that, so that I have effectively more money and can run the channel better. Hannah, thank you very much for subbing. Very much appreciated. It's always a bit of juxtaposition and cognitive dissonance in my head when it comes to a lot of stuff like this. What else have we got here? Do you have any details on the changes that have been made to improve turrets? Yes, so fixed weapon assist in general helps turrets and fixed weapons hit targets, so they're significantly more accurate. You won't notice as much jank when it comes to tracking people as well, because they've fixed some pips and ESP stuff as well, so less janky turrets, more accurate turrets. Not just more accurate, they hit more. It's like a very light auto aim on it as well. And turrets feel better. They've added a few extra features for that, so you can recenter quick, things like that. When it comes to individual weapons, some of them might have changed as well. So that's individual fire rates and stuff like that. Turrets are just significantly more deadly in 3.10. Do you think the guide system has been advertised well enough? No, I don't. They're just starting to advertise it a lot more now. So expect for 3.10 them to be pushing the guide system quite a bit. Why doesn't CIG release the skin ship design tool and allow community to start creating a massive skin library? There's so many things like that I think they should do. Like, getting community involvement in building things for the game, I think would generate a load of hype, generate a fuck ton more money, generate a huge amount more, sort of like, make the game a lot more mainstream, get a lot more people involved. I don't know why they don't do a lot of stuff like that. I think that's a great idea. What else have we got here? Thanks for all the great community work you do. Keep up the work. Thank you. I appreciate the love. Do you know how to get blood out of drapes? Buy new drapes. There's some stuff I could say that would get my channel banned. Let's not say that. Just paint your drapes red. And you don't have to worry about those pesky bloodstains ever again. Do you have any details on what changes have been made to improve? That's what we talked about. That's because I lost my place. On the release of Star Citizen, do you think a younger but serious player base would be more beneficial to the game? The addition of more players in general, yes. And I suspect you will get some younger people. But Star Citizen, compared to other games, will have almost certainly a appeal to older gamers, even if they're just a bit more older, like 24 plus. Because it's going to be a more complex game, and there's going to be less instant gratification, which a lot of younger gamer audience, typically, not always, will want. It's a different type of game, and it's for a different type of gamer, in my opinion. And typically, that's people that are a bit older. Not always, and I suspect there will be, once it's more mainstream, an influx of players of lots of ages. But will you be able to destroy the turret but not the ship in combat? Yes, and turrets are planned to be entry points as well, so you can blow a turret off a ship and then enter through that turret hole. Also, physicalized components in general will mean that you can target, affect, or destroy individual thrusters, individual like shield generators, power, all that sort of stuff. Ships won't just explode when the ship health gets to 0. It won't have a artificial health pool. It will be the individual components that you damage. So you can blow up and destroy the power plant and the engines and all that sort of stuff, and that ship's just adrift, and then you could board it. Chat, how many videos of 3.10 content do you have burning a hole in your YouTube ready? There's probably about 50 to 55 video ideas planned. 12 of those are sort of videos that I will want to get done in the first 3 or 4 days of 3.10 going to first wave PTU. Any news about 3.10 fixing the Phoenix cargo issue? I talked about a little bit about this earlier. Can't talk about specific bugs that are fixed in 3.10 in the EVOCATI build, but expect a lot of those types of bugs to have been looked at or addressed. Are there any plans for security systems / passwords for ship doors and power-ups? So they're building UIs for a lot of this stuff, but to what extent we're going to have locked doors and a permission system for that? Will it be passwords? Well, there's going to be some areas, but they'll probably use UIs for passwords, for at least for missions. Will that be for permission system on ships for hacking? We don't know. Could there be password systems, key locks in other places, little touchpads, other places? Yeah, they could use a mixture of all of them if they wanted to, but we just don't 100% know yet. I think you have always known how long this was going to take. Do you think CIG could or should do more to get the word out on the game's playable status to avoid new backers' frustration? Yes. So there's, as I did a video the other day, there is a bit of a paradox with the playable alpha. Okay, they do make it clear that it's an alpha, but they also market it and show videos and talk about it like it is a very much more playable game than it is. I do genuinely expect Star Citizen to be a genuinely great game, one of the greats when it is done, but it's a long way off. And that I suspect there is quite a lot of player frustration, even with people that know exactly what they're in for. Yeah? Yeah, I do think that CIG should talk about that a bit more. Make that more clear. Would you prefer to see only the final output of the production, or would you like to see early conceptual prototypes of game mechanics? I'd like to see early conceptual stuff at the earliest possible stage, to be honest. It doesn't need to be in-game at the earliest possible stage. I like more information and then talking about that. Do you think things like functional cybernetic wings will be in-game? I doubt it. They want some ways of surviving ejecting out of your ship. So bear that in mind. Do you fly decoupled or not? I switch between the two. Or I previously did. Will pilots be able to remotely disable components without destroying them? Capture a ship. Well, you'll be able to destroy them. You'll be able to use other types of damage, like distortion damage, and potentially some others, to disable them. You'll be able to potentially hack and stuff as well in the future. We don't know exactly how e-war and hacking will work. There's EMPs as well and things like that. I think it would be a great. I think it would be a great topic for the community. I think that it would be great on the top of community-built tools. Devil's advocate, outsiders trying to build in a game can lead broken to stuff for all in an MMO. Sorry, my brain. I'm not sure if I just misread that or not. My brain hurts. You're worried about people making terrible stuff or breaking things. Is that what it is? If you just give it to the community. I think if you give it to the community in a very small sort of like compartmentalized tool for skinning, I think that would be fine. What is the terror system? So, there's two main powerhouses in the UEE sort of area. So you've got Earth, the solar system, and Terra, the terror system. So it's like one of the other, if arguably the most built up human system. Right. Any other questions that I can answer quick? Because we'll go do a quick once over. I'll have a quick chatty, and then I'll probably dash off and check on my dad. It is his birthday today. He's 72-ish? He's 72, yeah. Oh. Marry, kill, Subliminal. Who were the people? The people you had there. Subliminal, STL, Youngblood, and Dig It. Dig that.
Question. Hey Bored. Love your content as always. Thanks for keeping it up even with little content from C at the moment. Happy B-Day to your dad.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Skylark. Any thoughts when we might see ship-to-ship refueling? So they wanted it to have a little nozzle that like came out of the Starfarer, and they need docking for that at the very least to be able to refuel other ships. Obviously, the ability to carry that fuel, pick up that fuel, refine that fuel would obviously be useful as well. When might we see that? We could see that by the middle of next year. I'm thinking for sort of like refuel. I do think it is probably some form of priority after docking. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Can I just marry them all? I don't know. Oh no. Dig That's got such a nice voice. I do respect Subliminal's content. And SDL Youngblood is one of the old guard. I don't know. I can't. Hater says no Horizon this year. What do you think? I think Pyro is more likely than Horizon and Crusader this year now. But they're both possible for this year. We'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping that CIG talk a lot more about it in the next couple of weeks. Next week, we'll have the new season of Inside Star Citizen, so that should give us a lot more information. Also, we should be seeing a pillar talk, I think, in the next week or two. I thought Terra meant Earth. Yeah, so it's also Terra as a system. Solar system. The solar system, that's where Earth is. I've got the Terra system, which it's not a. These aren't real solar systems in the real world IRL. They're sort of like Star Citizen is effectively its own galaxy, which is has the solar system in it. Did you answer my refinery question? Did you see it? Do you see it as first stage of making components since you get bars of metal to trade? Yeah, so the refining and some of the science gameplay should allow us effectively to convert one material into another, which is sort of very light crafting, but it's more other facilities and things like that typically. I suppose you can talk about, some ships might have their own refineries, might have a refinery ship in the future. Pickle of Marines, thank you very much appreciated for the sub. Love your face. What was I talking about? My brain turned off. Oh, at the very least, refined materials and even unrefined materials will be used in a manufacturing process where factory nodes, consume that and make it into items. So the NPC economy, basically, bam, makes it into stuff. Now, yeah, that could evolve into a much greater crafting mechanic that is also player side as well, that they might be able to own their own factories or craft to a much higher extent and lots of other things, which I'm hoping it does. Pickle of Marines, thank you so much for the subs. Alex 67, The Rock Knight, Shinaneo, and Figure 76. Oh, you stars. Thank you very much. Forced to be subbed. I do appreciate that. Oh, you legends. Lots of gifted subs today. I have to go in a second. Because I want to get my dad some food. I'm going to order him a takeaway from everyone, and I'm hungry as well. Hi, Bored. Hope you're well. Happy dad birthday to Elder Bored. I will. To Norris. Do you think the Bounty Merchantman will appear ever? Yes, it will. And how much divergence is there going to be from the current spec? Current spec, a medium amount from the current spec. Some of the metrics have changed. It will retain its role, which is it's going to be able to do a bit of cargo hauling. It's going to have shops on board. It's a big trade ship and bazaar. It's going to be pretty effective at doing that. So it will change in its numbers and its systems and things like that. It might have become both bigger and smaller in certain areas. It's supposed to have some synergy with the Bandit Defender. Oh, Sin Zero, thank you very much for the bits. Appreciate the cheer. With Cameron's beautiful face there. Compulsory subs. You monsters. Do you think we'll get Theatres of War? When do I think we'll get it? So I think we'll see Theatres of War in the next couple of weeks go to another EVOCATI test. That'd be my expectation. Just a couple of weeks after 3.10 gets released, I suppose. Actually, maybe not a couple of weeks. Within about a month. Within a month, we expect another EVOCATI test of Theatres of War. And then if they have solved some of the performance issues and some of the other issues that they had with that, if it's absorbed 3.10's content, there's not a terrible amount of bugs, and they're ready for it to get a bit more stress testing and feedback, then they'll open up to a wider test group for another weekend test or two pretty soon after that, I would expect. What's your current PC, if you don't mind? So you can find it in the links below. Azatec sent me an Alienware Aurora A10, which I've modified slightly, which I will be talking about a lot more once 3.10 comes out, and I can actually test it a bit better and show off some of the specs. I'll also be looking at Shadow with 3.10 as well, which is the cloud services. But Azatec have been really, really helpful. I used their fans and stuff, and I contacted Azatec originally and said, "Look at the sponsorships. I use your stuff, and I think you can help with." And they sort of said, "Oh yeah, we'd be interested in that in the future." With like one of my someone that watched my content contacted me there from there afterwards. So we've been talking about working together, building some Star Citizen rigs, and talking about Azatec in a not in a sponsorship way, but in a sort of way that I just go, "Yeah, I like their stuff. I'll fucking support them. Happily shield for stuff that I like." And there's no sort of sponsorship deal or anything there. They're helping me out. I'll help them out. You know, I think it's cool. They're good chaps. But I've got a Ryzen 7 3950X at the moment and a 2080 Ti GeForce, and lots of other stuff. I think I'm actually running 64 gigs of RAM at the moment, but that's because I'm a monster with RAM. What are your thoughts on usefulness of a luxury ship once commercial flights become a thing? Yeah, so I think there'll be VIP and commercial transports. I think that will be a thing for the 890 Jump as well as the Genesis Starliner. I think a lot of those things are status symbols, though. They've got less function over, like an 890 Jump's not going to be as effective as a Genesis Starliner, in my opinion, for those making money from just transporting things. Maybe there will be very specific VIP missions that would be great, but having it as like an organ party boat and also as a yacht, I mean, the 890 Jump is specifically for that, or mostly for that. So, any chatter about VTOL turbulence? That wind is a thing in 3.10. As is aerodynamics, as is a lot of new flight model changes for Planet Service, Jerk as well. Bad Luck Dav, thank you very much. Thanks for all the great videos. Thank you very much for the great money. I appreciate people watching them more than anything else. Over the last 4 or 5 years that I've done YouTube, and about 5 years, 6 years I've done YouTube now, and 4 years I've done Star Citizen. I've had a great time and sort of been able to slowly build up a channel at my own pace, which is nice. Now I'm hiring someone full time, starting in a couple of weeks for me properly. So she'll be able to expand the empire somewhat. I'm looking forward to not just Star Citizen content on my channel, or at least on my stream. I'll probably be streaming like in the near future. I'll be streaming some Green Hell, the story mode for that with Zin and people, and yeah. Do you still work with Shadow as a sponsor? So they don't sponsor me. I just have affiliate links from them. I don't really have a sponsor. I just have affiliate links for NordVPN and Shadow because I use them. They seem good. I get kickbacks from those affiliate links, but they don't give me money directly for mentioning them or anything. I think that's probably a better way of doing it, in my opinion. Commander Deco, thank you very much for the cheer. Very much appreciated. Oh, you star. But yeah, Shadow. So I have been waiting to test out Shadow on 3.10, so I didn't want to be pushing Shadow when I know they're slightly overburdened is probably the wrong word. There's a lot of people that want Shadow, and there's a bit of a waiting list, and I think they got slowed down a little bit. This is speculation for me by the global lockdown, expanding out more for their network, so that they had more positions for people. So there's a bit of longer waiting list than they'd want. So I was waiting for 3.10 to go live, and then, or first wave PTU, test out Shadow, and then talk a bit more about Shadow specifically for 3.10. How effective is it? Is it working better? There's lots more different types of Shadow hardware as well now. Well, thank you very much for people activating a hype train. Very much appreciated. You monsters. Thank you. What is the current playable system called? Oh, yes, Anton's already... The Stanton system, indeed. So it used to be Stanton system, but everyone referred to it as Crusader, because it was just the area around Crusader, the Crusader planetary system. But now it's the Crusader is in the Stanton system, and now they have the whole star systems coming together. It's weird that we don't have Crusader in properly. We have a fake Crusader at the moment, which is the last planet we're waiting for the Stanton system. Actually, Crusader and its landing zone, Orison. Do you think there needs to be the introduction of large solo player ships? No, I think they want to sort of avoid that sort of stuff. They want to have AI and NPCs and player crews where possible. They want Star Citizen to be a more sort of communicative, tactile experience, especially when it comes to the larger ships. It's not beyond the... not beyond all sort of doubts, but I wouldn't expect to see... there's none that I'm aware of. How would you have fun from a gameplay perspective on an 890 Jump? You clearly don't own an 890 Jump. Having parties in real life is different to a virtual road. Yeah, but doing social stuff in game is still fun. I mean, the 890 Jump's still going to be an effective exploration and multi-role ship. But also, there's going to be potentially that VIP transport gameplay. If you're sort of like large-scale orgs, sort of doing negotiations and things like that, you'd invite them to your 890 Jump. Will weather and other environmental effects affect vehicles on the ground? aka rock and perhaps roll them? Rock and roll, wow. So wind and environmental effects will affect ships. I would expect them to eventually, at least, affect vehicles to some degree as well. When do you think capital ships will make their way into the playable game? This is an interesting one. I think in the not-too-distant future, we will see missions where with our NPC capital ships that we fight or turn up, and interesting things like that. When we were able to actually use them ourselves, I don't know. And there's more work to be done to them for them to be usable. What else do we have? A couple more, and then we'll dash off. What do you think of the role of the Starfarer will be after it gets a nerf because quantum travel fuel is now unmineable? So we'll have to see. Maybe you'll be able to get quantum fuel, quantanium from gas and from siphoning as well. And maybe the Starfarer will also be able to salvage to some degree with siphoning. But it will certainly be able to. They said it will sort of like be able to refine and store quantum fuel, or at least store quantum fuel. So we'll have to see what they've got planned for the Starfarer. They sort of like confused a lot of stuff. We're a bit confused. We don't know what's going on with the Starfarer. We need to know more. Am I planning on buying any BenQ 3501 widescreen monitors? I'm not a massive sort of fan of curved or super widescreen monitors. I've got a 27-inch 4K monitor I'm using with a reasonably high refresh rate. I'd have a look at the BenQ. Well, I don't know about that specific model, to be honest. But I'll have a look at NVIDIA 101. I'm always interested in things that make me have a better gaming experience or reduce my refresh rate. Or make stuff look prettier. Do you think quantum fuel will taste like Pop Rocks? I think it'll probably kill you if you drank it. Glug. What's your favourite board game? Outside of Warhammer, of course. It's quite a lot. I've been enjoying, over the last couple of years, Endeavour, Age of Sail. Quite enjoy. I'm pretty much, I'll play any board game. The Sherlock Holmes board games are pretty cool. Consulting Detective, really cool set of one-shot cases and games that you can play that are really good fun. We've been playing a lot of Legacy Betrayal, which is pretty fun. I don't really have favourites, I suppose. I just like playing games in general. Yeah. Will vehicles be affected by strong winds on lightning? Well, lightning shouldn't affect a vehicle anyway. If it gets hit by lightning, it should just disperse around the vehicle, like it does in real life, as far as I'm aware. If your car gets hit by lightning, it should just go knock round. So what is it, Faraday cage effect, whatever. But I suppose Star Citizen is a game, and we know that if you get hit, for example, I don't know if that's actually been talked about. What am I doing? No, I can't say that, just in case. So I would expect ground vehicles to be affected by environmental conditions and wind eventually. I'm not sure if that's in 3.10. Ships, when flying in atmosphere, yes, that's part of the flight model. Ground vehicles, not necessarily part of the flight model, but I would expect them to be affected by that in the future. Do you have a VR set up? Yes, I've got a Valve Index. Would you join me on an Iron Wolf VR stream? Potentially. Depends when, but not in the very near future, not in the next few weeks, because I'm going to be pretty busy, especially with 3.10 and first wave PTU. But in the future, happy to do some VR content. Yeah, bits and bytes. Actually, I've been looking for a reason to use my VR headset more. Do you think you'll be able to make the Adaptus Mechanicus Text Priest or Cyborg type character in the game later? I think there'll be some stuff that's a little bit cool, techno-y type suit. I mean, some of the Bounty Hunter armors looked pretty cool in concept. I think there'll be some cool armors, for sure. I don't think there's going to be huge amounts of like body augmentation, even aesthetic ones. I think they'll probably won't have. But armor, you'll probably make something quite tech priesty. So I'm my 40k army that I'm building. I'm waiting for the 9th edition points rulebooks stuff, the updates to that to get to me. Got the core rulebook and the points updates, and I'll construct an army and put up my social media and stuff, and get some pictures and stuff of what I'm doing. I'm planning to do a Adaptus Mechanicus army that was going to be like a knightly household. That's sort of actually sort of like a little bit knighty as well. Loads of cavalry and things like that. It's supposed to be not Titan, Imperial knightly household sort of thing. However, but looking at the Interacts, and went, I could do them as Interacts, who are a human empire that the Imperium mostly wiped out in the Horus Heresy era, or the Great Crusade era. It was the Horus during the Horus Heresy. Was it the Great? Maybe during the Horus Heresy. And they sort of like got centaurs and things and super high tech humans, so might do them as that. I haven't 100% decided. But it'll be Adaptus Mechanicus, and then I need to work out if I'm going to have a load of Castellan robots or if I'm going to have a load of Cataphrons, or both, along with the cavalry. Hello! Will you be able to play as aliens later on in Star Citizen? So they've said they wanted to do that, but don't expect that until after release, so a long time in the future. Humans for the medium, the short to medium to potentially quite long term. Will there be more customization of the characters in the future? Yes. So you will be able to do some after. You'll be able to do some in-game after you've created your character customization, with like potentially getting piercings and tattoos and stuff like that as well, and haircuts. But there's going to be a much more in-depth gene splicing system for your characters as well. I'll highly recommend the Skitarii from the Forge World. I'll have a look. I haven't seen all the Forge World models. That's a Securitai, whatever they're called. Are you related to the guy in the background? What's White? What's his name? Is his name Captain White in this? The Onion Knight. I can't fucking remember what his name is. I'm gonna say Mark Strong, but it's not Mark Strong. Mark Strong is in this game. Hello. But yes, we are related, clearly. Have they mentioned anything about hoverbike changes due to the flight model updates? Slightly different system, as far as I'm aware, the actual hover vehicle system, but they will be updating that. It will be getting tweaks at the very least. Liam Cunningham, thank you very much. What is your? We talked about that already. Will there be other throw types, such as warp? If you have a ship, either start with a warp ring or outfit a ship with a warp ring. What? So there's quantum travel is the main way you get places. Quantum travel and going through jump points. Different ships, different alien ships especially, will have different quantum drive effects. I am going to dash off. You can smile with glasses, mate. Thank you very much, Neo. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, sir, as well. It was good to chat to you the other day on your stream. Thank you very much for making me feel welcome. Thank you very much for everyone joining me today. It is very much appreciated. I'm going to go and see who there is to host. Who else is playing? What are they doing? What have we got? Who do you want? See Mac Brothers? Noodle? Maya? Who do you want? Maya is online. We're going to go to Maya then. Bam. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. That is Hype Train Choo Choo. No, /rate. Bam. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's very much appreciated. I love your face. All of your face. I love all of your face. Thank you very much as well for people chucking loads of money at me. Sires Nishel with your giant amount of South Korean monies. Thank you very much. 50,000, whatever it was. Very much appreciated. Konstantinos Mikidis. Thank you very much, sir. Sin Zero, you legend of a person. Commander Deckard. Bad Luck Dav. The people, like, Pickle of Marines. And Sin Zero again. Just donating huge amounts. And Dalamar's donating huge amounts of subs. That's very much appreciated. Silly G. Shite. Oh, you legend Shite. I can't believe you're actually a good mod. I sort of jokingly modded you and was like, I can remove it later if he's crappy. I really appreciate that. You are a legend, sir. Very much appreciated. You're the hype train conductor, Pickle of Marines. That's an amazing little symbol that it shows me. Robert Johnston as well. He's gone to bed, but I love him. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm sure there's lots of other people that I didn't mention because I'm a monster. Hannah, you're a mwah. But thank you very much for watching, guys. You take care. I'll talk to you soon. Anton, yeah, we'll go for a drink. You'll contact me and tell me what's going on with that. Oh, shoot. What are we shooting? What's going on? Give me money. What? No. But I love you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Send me a email at contact@boardgamer.co.uk if you've got anything that you want me to take a look at, or you've got any content ideas or any feedback. That would really help. Or you can get me on my Discord. And yeah, love you guys loads. You take care. Peace out.